Hi there, and welcome to the information session on the Graduate Certificate of Finance at the Macquarie University Applied Finance Centre. So my name is Shane McGee. I'm the Program Director of the Graduate Certificate of Finance. I've been working with the Applied Finance Centre now for a number of years. I developed one of the units in the graduate certificate, so I developed the Finance Principles unit, and I was also the lead on developing the other 3 units in the Graduate Certificate of Applied Finance. I also teach in other finance units within the Master of Applied Finance programs. So before joining Macquarie University, I had worked in industry for approximately 10 to 12 years, predominantly within banking. So I had worked in Citigroup, in their corporate treasury, where I was responsible for things like doing all the funding for the bank, managing interest rate risk, managing currency risk, managing funding and liquidity, and also managing the capital for the bank. So I was a big user in financial instruments such as currency swaps, spot and forward currency contracts, and I tend to teach in areas that are related to risk and finance principles. So who are we? Well, the Applied Finance Centre was established in 1980, and it operates in Sydney, Melbourne and Beijing. Our focus is on teaching real-world applied finance that is directly relevant to your career. We have flexible study options. For example, within the graduate certificate, all of our units are taught online. Okay. In our other programs, such as the Master of Applied Finance or the Postgraduate Diploma of Applied Finance, the units are taught face-to-face, but they're also, in that face-to-face mode, they're taught in an intensive mode, say block teaching, or they're taught week by week, such as 2 classes per week, for example, for a duration of 6 weeks. So we also have a number of benefits for students in our programs and ongoing benefits for those students after they finish our programs. And that is, we have partnerships with both educational and industry associations and employers. So for example, we have partnerships in the Graduate Certificate of Finance with FINSIA. We also have partnerships with the CFA program and Premier in our Master of Applied Finance program. So our teaching philosophy is that our programs are for practitioners and delivered by practitioners. So what that means is that all of the people who teach in our program, they must have extensive industry experience. The other benefit too is that students in our program will also have industry experience. Many of our students in the graduate certificate program do have industry experience, and that allows our students to develop strong networks. Okay. The other thing to take note too is that employers place a considerable amount of value on graduate qualifications. And in particular, a solid foundation in finance knowledge and skills at the postgraduate level is highly valued. So a few things about the program. As you know, the program, the Graduate Certificate of Finance, is online. It can either be completed 6 months full-time or 1 year part-time. If you are completing the program full-time, that would mean that you are doing 2 units per term. And if you are completing the program on a part-time basis, that would mean that you are doing 1 unit per term. The entry criteria for the program is that you would need to have either a bachelor's degree in any discipline, or if you do not have a bachelor's degree, you would need to have at least 5 years relevant professional experience. So we start the program every term, and the terms commence in January, March, June and September, and there are 4 units of study. So as I was saying before, if you wish to complete the program part-time, over 4 terms, you would be doing one unit per term. If you wish to complete the program full-time over 2 terms, then you would complete 2 units per term. The fees for 2017 are $3,192 per unit. Okay. Okay, so who are the students in our programs? Well, in the graduate certificate of the graduate certificate of finance, we get a variety of students coming into our program. For example, we have professionals, industry professionals within the finance industry or working in a finance role within a corporate, who require a solid understanding of finance principles and a solid understanding of the finance sector in their roles. We also have early career professionals who are looking at accelerating their career in finance. We also have a diverse range of industry professionals from different types of industries. For example, we have lawyers in our program, we have engineers, we have people from an IT background, we have people from property, mining and geology. So we have lots of diversity in our student base, and these particular students in our program are either looking to transition to a finance career within the finance industry, or alternatively, what they're looking at is they're now being exposed to finance within their existing role, and they're looking to skill up and acquire finance skills that can be used to either enhance their existing roles or move up into advanced roles within their existing employer. Okay, so the learning outcomes and the benefits for you from the program. Our curriculum is delivered at the postgraduate level. Okay, so after completing this program, we would expect that you would have developed specialized knowledge of key theories, concepts, models, and recent trends in finance. We would expect that you would have developed specialized technical skills in finance. These skills will help you evaluate and establish knowledge and the analysis of issues in finance, and they'll also help you apply solutions to problems in finance, also using professional judgment. You'll come out of the program developing effective communication skills for diverse audiences, and you'll also be able to identify contemporary industry challenges and ethical issues in the global financial industry. The other benefit to you is the membership or the partnership that we have with FinSIA. Okay, so students of the Graduate Certificate of Finance enjoy a complimentary membership with FinSIA, which is Australia's peak banking and finance industry body. This membership enables access to a full range of FinSIA's programs, and in particular, it gives you access to FinSIA's 16-week professional mentoring program, where you are mentored by an existing a senior member of FinSIA. Okay, so this is a good chance for our students to network with people in the industry. Okay, let's just have a think about, or have a look at who teaches in the program. So apart from myself, there are a number of lecturers who teach in the program, and again, each of these lecturers has extensive industry experience. So for example, Frank Ash, who teaches in our Case Studies and Applied Finance unit, he has had extensive industry experience in both risk and funds management. He's also been teaching with us for quite some time as well, and he will be working with you in the Case Studies and Applied Finance unit. Al Clark and Stephanie Brooks, they both teach in the Quantitative and Economic Analysis unit. So for example, Al has extensive industry experience in portfolio management, and he'll be able to help you in the quantitative and economic analysis apply statistical skills to solve financial problems. Stephanie has extensive industry experience within economics and financial markets, and she'll be working with you in the quantitative and economic analysis unit. Jennifer Harrison, she has extensive industry and investment banking, corporate finance and advisory. So Jennifer has extensive knowledge of financial analysis and financial modelling. So she'll be able to really help you develop your skills in the financial statement analysis and modelling unit. So let's now have a look at the units that are included in the graduate certificate program. So we have quantitative and economic analysis, which is really taught in two parts, but they're very interconnected. The first part develops key skills in microeconomics, which we think are necessary to understand finance. So you'll develop tools in demand and supply analysis and apply that to the consumer and the firm, and you will also look at market structures. Then you'll be able to test those ideas in the microeconomics component by developing skills in quantitative analysis. So you'll develop skills in statistics which can then be used in finance applications. Okay, and you'll also develop your spreadsheet skills in statistical modelling. In the financial statement analysis and modelling unit, you will develop key financial analysis skills which can help you in other areas like corporate finance and investment analysis. The emphasis in this unit is on understanding financial statements. So you're really a consumer of financial statements rather than a producer of financial statements. And you'll be looking at interpreting financial statements in the context of a company's operational performance and strategy. Okay, to assess the historical performance of the company and to prepare a spreadsheet-based financial model that is capable of forecasting. All right. In the finance principles unit, this is the unit that I look after. In this unit, we develop the key building blocks which are really necessary to understand the whole finance discipline. So, for example, we look at three key ideas in finance, such as the analysis of trade-offs over time, the valuation of assets, and risk management. And we apply these to a broad range of finance disciplines. We apply it to the fields of corporate finance, investments, and also we apply it to financial institutions and markets. So the fourth unit listed here is case studies in applied finance. So in this unit, you actually look to see what are the main financial markets and institutions in the economy, and you also look at who are the main players in those financial markets and institutions. So, for example, you will look at banks, you will look at investment banks, you will look at insurance companies and superannuation funds. You'll get to examine the key structures of the financial system, and there'll be a number of case studies that look at actual events that have taken place. And this will give you a sense of application of finance in the real world. Okay. What I'll say on all of these units I've studied is that they are intensive. So, for example, in a 10-week term, I would be expecting you to set aside at least 12 hours of time a week per unit. Although the units are online, that online gives you flexibility in terms of where you study. But the way we've structured these online units is that we want our students to move together as a group. Okay, we want our students to move together as a group, as we would if we were teaching this in a face-to-face context. So what that means is that we will have topics assigned to each week. We will also have activities assigned to each week. And for many of these units, it means that there will be small assessments due every week. For example, in the finance principles unit, we have 8 topics. For 4 of those topics, they are more numerical topics. So we will have quizzes due for each of those 4 numerical type topics. There are 4 more qualitative type topics, and for those topics what we will do is we'll have discussion forums where you participate in discussion forums with other students in the unit. So I just want to mention that yes, these units are online, um, um, but they do require you to continually work at the units week in, week out. So we want students to move together, and we do that through the design of the assessments and activities. Okay. Um, the other thing that we can talk about with these with these online units is that they are not, they're not videos or lecture recordings. Um, what you will see is that you will, for each topic in the unit, in each unit, you'll have assigned activities. You will have some assigned reading to look at. You might then have some problems to solve, or you might have participation in discussion forums to work on. We do use video, but that video is targeted to solve specific problems. Okay, so we use video to demonstrate certain ideas, and we use videos to help us and to show you how we solve problems in finance. The videos that are there are not lecture recordings. They are there as a way of highlighting key ideas and problem solving. Okay. So this now leads us to the online environment. So I know, for studying online, it is much different to face to face. So what we do is we try and foster student engagement right from the beginning. So for example, in each unit, at the beginning of the unit, we'll have introduction forums where you actually introduce yourself to other people in the unit. We will have lots and lots of discussion forums in the units where you can actually contribute your knowledge to discussion forums, and also give other students advice on their contributions as well. And what this does, it creates a community. Okay, so the whole idea is that right from the beginning of each unit, there's a community established between students, whereby students are able to help each other out through the course of the unit. So you're not doing things alone. You're working with other students in the program. Okay, and again, keep in mind that this is an e-learning community, which is accessible anywhere and anytime on any mobile device. So I just mentioned a few other things as well. So short courses at the graduate level are on the rise. Our program has been very successful. We've had many students go through our program, and as I was saying before, many of these students are actually either working in the finance industry at the moment, or working in a finance role within a corporation, or they may be students who are young, have just started their career and are looking to increase their knowledge in finance. Or it might be the situation that we've had many industry professionals, for example, who come from law, IT, engineering, mining is another example. These particular students have, for example, they may have advanced degrees, they may have master's degrees in their area of expertise, and now they're being exposed to finance in their existing roles, and they're now looking for a short course to develop financial skills which can be used in their existing career paths. All right. What we've also found, for example, we have had students who, after completing the graduate certificate, then go on to do our master's program. For example, you'll see a little snippet here of Tyler Sims, who was an engineer at BHP, based in Roxby Downs. He has now gone on to he's now doing our Masters of Applied Finance through our Melbourne Centre, and he's able to travel to Melbourne to attend classes there. Sorry, one more thing. I just mentioned Tyler, who's living in Roxby Downs. Where students come from is very diverse. We've had a number of students from, so for example, Northern Queensland. We've had students from Central Australia, students from and then students from the major cities like Perth, Sydney, and Melbourne. But outside of that, we also have a number of students who are based overseas. For example, we've had students based in the US, many students based in Asia, even a student in Papua New Guinea. So the student body is very, very diverse, not only in their background, but also in their location. So just coming back to the trend in graduate study, particularly in short courses, and the story of Tyler, we have had many students who do wish to study more finance after their graduate certificate. And if you are thinking of doing that, if you're thinking of using the graduate certificate as a lever to go into our Masters of Applied Finance or our Graduate Diploma of Applied Finance program, what you will need to do is to acquire at least 2 years work experience along with the Graduate Certificate of Finance. They will be the requirements for entry into our Graduate Diploma of Applied Finance or the Master of Applied Finance. And in both of those programs, you will receive credit for the 16 credit points of units done in the Graduate Certificate of Finance. So just to highlight a few other things. So what are the benefits of graduate study in applied finance? Well, applied finance studies should complement practical work experience. Okay. So contextual learning is most powerful. If you are working in finance or you're working in industry, in other industries, it's very nice to think about, well, how could I apply what I'm learning? Okay. The other big thing to think about is that employers place value on applied graduate qualifications. Okay. They place value on skills that are developed with real-world applications. Graduate study can help improve your career development. It can expand and enhance your professional network. Even in an online unit, you can develop and enhance your network. Okay, and there's opportunities to specialize in many, many different areas of applied finance. For example, that could be in corporate finance, funds management, risk management, or even financial markets. So how do you apply for our program? Again, the entry requirements are that you need to have a bachelor's degree or a recognized equivalent, or you need to have 5 years plus of professional work experience. Okay, so to apply to the program, you can visit our website, which is www.mafc.mq.edu.au. And again, we have 4 closing dates per year, and those dates will be available on our website. And remember, you can apply to any term. You can apply for our terms that start in January, March, June, and September. Okay, so thank you for listening. If you again, you can contact our Future Students area to ask any further questions about the program. But importantly now, what you can do is you can ask me questions through this webinar. I'm very, very happy to answer them.